right, runs like that make me nervous about running a half marathon. That felt bad. I cut it short. Just did 2.5 instead of 3. I'm winded even though I was going about as slow as I could go.
What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about the long run. It's just a regular run that's longer than your normal run. The long run is just one day a week where you run a little further than you normally do. I think most experts agree you should start adding a long run once you've stabilized at running 3 miles about 3 times a week. That's about where I'm at in my training currently. I've been running about 3 miles every other day for about 4 weeks. Last week I did a long run of about 4 miles. And so today I'm going to tackle a long run of 5 miles, and I'm going to bring you with me.
All right, here we go. 5 miles. Let's do it.
When you're a beginner, the long run doesn't have to be that much longer than your usual run. You just want to start increasing the length of one run each week by a mile or half a mile, and slowly build up over time. And you'll be amazed at how fast you're quickly running distances in 6-7 mile range. It'll actually look pretty ridiculous when you see it on paper that in 3 to 4 weeks you could be running 6 or 7 miles. It certainly doesn't feel like that when 3 miles is still a struggle. The long run has some magic to it when it comes to 5K racing. Once you build up to running 5 or 6 miles on a weekend, a 5K race doesn't seem so daunting. It's a shorter distance for your mind to handle, and your aerobic capacity will build up very quickly from these long runs. You'll be able to set some PRs in no time.
All right, mile 1 is done. I'm a little faster than I should be. 12:34 for the first mile. I would have liked to see that at 13.5. I'm a little out of breath, but I'm running uphill at the moment. It was downhill most of the first mile, so that's part of the reason it was a little faster. I am cold still, hoping to warm up soon. All right, see you mile 2.
Okay, let's get into the list of tips for the long run. The first one, and the most important one, is to slow down. People run too fast, they stress their bodies, they get injured. You're a beginner, you're new to running, even if you've run before, your fitness level isn't there yet, you have to slow down. It's the only way to go further. Some runners want to train using heart rate monitors, and that can be very difficult for beginner runners because their fitness level isn't in a place where their heart rate zones line up with what experts are telling them. So they say, run in zone 1, zone 2. If I'm in zone 2, I am walking. There is no way I can keep that going. So, it's a zone 3 type situation. You just want to go at a low perceived effort. On a 1 to 10 perceived effort scale, you want to be in the 2 to 3 range. So it feels like you can maintain that pace for a very, very long time because, in fact, that's what you were trying to do.
All right, it's the end of mile 2. That one was a 13:19 pace. I did have to walk on one steep hill, so that does account for the extra time. I'm happy to see a slower time, though. Still have 3 miles to go. I'm officially outside of my own neighborhood, so I'm lost, but I'm just going to turn around and retrace my steps when I get to 2.5 miles. So still feeling good. Here we go.
Okay, tip number 2 is to plan your route. The trouble you have with running 5 or 6 miles all of a sudden is you usually end up running outside your neighborhood. You can, for 3 miles, you can just loop around on the streets close to your home, and you can run for half an hour pretty easily. But once you start adding distance, you're going to find yourself on new roads. You want to make sure you're somewhere safe, somewhere that's easy to run, and you want to make sure you know how to get home. So if you're going somewhere crazy, take a cell phone so you can use your map to get home, or call an Uber in the worst case scenario. Okay, tip 3 is to plan your hydration. This is another one where a regular run, you don't really need to take water with you. You'll be back home in 30 to 45 minutes. On a long run, you might not be home for an hour or 2. That means you might need a drink. So there's a few solutions to this. If you live in a city, you might know where there's a water fountain. You can take water with you. You can buy a hydration belt that has little water bottles. Some people carry a bottle in their hand. You could take water or Gatorade, something like that. Another option is to do 2 separate loops. Set a bottle somewhere where you can find it. Run your first half of your long run so you can have access to your drink, and then run your second half of your long run. Then you don't have to carry it, but you only have that one chance to drink it. But what's most important is that you don't go for 2 hours without water when you really need it. For me, hydration has always come into play when I get up into 8 and 10 mile runs. I'm okay for an hour or two, but when you start getting into those extreme lengths, you have to have a solution for water. Races provide water, usually every 2 to 3 miles, so it's okay to drink something during your training.
All right, 2.5 miles. Made it to the turnaround. Heading the other way. Look at that monster hill behind me. I got to miss. I like that. Let's go.
Tip 4 is very simple. You need to check the weather forecast before you go out the door. The reason for this is your run might take an hour or two. The weather can change in an hour or two. So it looks nice outside now, but in 2 hours it could be storming, it could be really hot. You just want to be prepared for any situation. Having that forecast in the back of your mind can be really helpful.
All right, just past 3 miles. Still feeling good. I'm not cold anymore. A little bit sweaty. Heading back. Let's go.
Okay, tip 5 is to dress for the last mile. So you're used to just throwing on clothes and going outside. In half an hour, you're back home. If you're uncomfortable, it's not that bad of a problem. On a long run, it's a bigger problem. If you are half an hour into a 2-hour run and you are all of a sudden too hot because you're wearing too many clothes, you now have to carry around a bunch of clothes for an hour and a half. So you need to plan what you're going to wear, and it's important to plan for, I always say dress for the last mile because a really fast runner told me that once, but you want to plan for once you're warmed up. For example, it's about 48 degrees Fahrenheit outside right now. I'm going to go on this long run. I'm going to wear shorts and a t-shirt. If I stand outside in shorts and a t-shirt, I am cold. But once I get to running, I'll be fine. So if I wore pants and a long sleeve shirt, I'd be comfortable for the first mile and then uncomfortable for the last 4 miles. And that's the situation you don't want to find yourself in.
All right, that's mile 4. It was a 13-minute mile pace. Last mile is a gradual uphill the whole way, but I still feel good. So we're gonna crush it. Let's go.
And the last tip is to take your rest days after your long run seriously. Your body needs time to recover. You've done something challenging that your body's not used to. Your body needs to recover. Your muscles need to regain strength. If you go out and run, you can get hurt. So it's important to take a rest day, maybe 2 rest days, especially if you're not used to long runs. It all depends on your fitness level, but when you're new to it, I think 2 days off is probably the smart move, but you have to do it by feel. If you feel great the second day, then don't let me hold you back.
All right, that's it, guys. 5 miles done. Feel pretty good, no problems. Definitely my legs got heavy the last mile, but kept going, no problem. Even sped up the last 1/10 of a mile just to give the legs a good shake. It felt great overall. I think because of the extra rest day before. I've been running on 1 day of rest in between workouts. I had 2 days off this time, and I think it made a world of difference. And so I'm going to do the same thing for my 5K next week. Just take 2 days off before so that I'm ready to go. Thanks for coming with me. Realized I forgot to tell you my pace. It was just under 13 minutes a mile, 12:54 per mile overall. Really happy with that. Didn't really try to go faster, but that's faster than a lot of my workouts have been. And it's the longest I've run in 3.5 years. So a very positive result overall.
If you want to follow me on Strava, I added the link to my YouTube profile. I'll put it in the show notes for this one as well. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Thanks.